Citizens of the Reject Nation, this is my non-spoiler Across the Spider-Verse review, and I'm happy to say I think I have a new favorite Spider-Man movie, which means I have a new top 10 comic book movie, and I think maybe even bigger than that. I've only ever given 22 films 5 stars. I think this is 23. Across the Spider-Verse, non-spoiler. This is somehow a bigger leap in what I think animation technology is than even the first one. I don't know animation, but the things I saw are just mind-boggling. The accomplishments and just visual aesthetic, notwithstanding the story, is such an accomplishment. I felt so much for these characters. I love these characters already, and I love them even more now, and it trusts the audience to have a drama be told. I think that the metamodernism of Lord Miller is unique to itself. They are somehow always just ahead of the curve. They are futurists with comedy. They're able to know what's about to be funny, and they really change the game with comedy over and over again. And I think that if that trend hopefully follows suit, that's about to happen with sincere drama. This movie is so sincere and honest and beautiful and heartfelt, and even in the slow, patient moments, it lets it breathe. And I think that's the beauty of this film, is that, for example, Spider-Gwen, she's in the trailers, you know she's in the first movie, she's very much in this movie, she's the co-lead of this movie, almost as much as Miles in screen time. And the artist who I think of with Spider-Gwen is Jason Latour, and Jason Latour has this incredible painted style, and the film lets the Jason Latour art shape that whole world. But the thing about the Jason Latour art is that it kind of expands and breathes horizontally, and every time you're in her world, it feels that expanding emotion, right? And then like Miguel O Hara, Spider-Man 2099, he's from the future, and Rick Leonardi, the most iconic, in my opinion, the most iconic Spider-Man 2099 artist, his art always feels like it's not quite complete because it's in the future, and like it's not quite finished in a very conscious way because the future's not written yet. Miguel's got these beautiful accents around his face, and he's got these shapes that are like he's not quite there. And all of that's very intentional, and it's all a love letter to the art that reflects these characters. And that isn't just for nerds for me, but it's for the story. It ties into the story they're telling. Also, the way they shape the world. I've talked about Latour, I've talked about Leonardi, but the actual worlds themselves, there's a lot of really interesting things where this is gloriously Spider-Versal, and the way they shape even the worlds around the characters also reflects the characters. And it's interesting because it's this nature-nurture thing, right? Like, you are your environment. And you know, we can't really live in these worlds for too long, but what we can do is, if you know the character and you love the character, that's the environment. So subconsciously your brain is like, well, yeah, that makes sense, they'd be like that. But if you actually think about how people are shaped and formed, it's so cool to actually see their environments and how the world they came from informed them, and that just builds the character twofold. And I thought they handled all of those broad ideas really well. This masterfully handles some very broad concepts while delivering, much like the first film handled quantum physics, this film delivers a lot of nature, nurture, where you come from, interesting things about belonging and what we are. And man, fucking Spider-Man movie. And then you've got like these amazing supporting characters. I mean, obviously in the first one we loved Spider-Man Noir and Peter Porker, but in this one there's so much interesting storytelling that I do not want to give away. I'm very excited for the spoiler review, but the reason behind some things is tied directly into these supporting characters, and they are hilarious. You guys know Ben Reilly's in it, and he is one of my favorite characters, and they know how to utilize him in a very unique way. And then they also have Spider-Man India in a very unique setting, and really tie the story beautifully to him. And there's still so many surprises. This film has, far and away, I think, yeah, it has my favorite cameo. This film has my favorite cameo of all time, and it's really unique to my sensibilities, and I don't want to give too much away in saying even anything more than that, but when I can talk about it, it's the cameo I'm most excited to talk about, because it actually kind of looks at some of my cameo problems. Like, it solves some of my issues with cameos, and it's so ambitious and so insane, and it's it's really wonderful. And once again, when I can talk about it, it beautifully summarizes why I love this film so much and why I love Lord and Miller's love for Spider-Man. And so the movie itself is paced for adults. It is a drama. It is at times very, very introspective, but it's got so much levity and so much comedy. It's never heavy in a way that feels like a hindrance. It's heavy in its thematic elements. It's heavy in some of its storytelling, but it's, like I said, the metamodernism of drama. It's so self-aware in its story and its drama, but I hope that sincerity is what we get out of this film, because it's made for adults, but kids could learn so much from this story. Like how you wear the mask is so important, and what you do in these moments is so important. And I think the first film really was a cultural shift, and I think this one has that same potential. And to be honest, there's such a bigger story. Like, I love stories about family, and I love stories that involve power and responsibility. That's why Spider-Man's my guy. But so often they feel like they've been told. They so often feel like, you're coloring by numbers. And this one, I was surprised at so many twists and turns. I mean, not just the obvious stuff like, your Easter eggs and your cameos and those moments, but genuine storytelling turns surprised me, because it's such a beautiful new story to tell. And by the time you're at the end, I didn't want this movie to end, and it's over 2 hours, and I just wanted to live in this world. I wanted to experience this world, and the chemistry of these actors, man. Shameik Moore is even more Miles Morales. He's even more just this man, this young man who's coming into his own. And Haley Steinfeld's chemistry with Shameik is incredible. And this is maybe my favorite take ever on Spider-Gwen. Like, I love Spider-Gwen in the comics. I'm a huge fan of Spider-Gwen, but there's something about the way she plays her that it takes all the elements of Gwen that I like and makes me love them, and it adds more. There's this beautiful hard innocence. There's this beautiful freedom, but you understand why some of the choices you're like disagreeing with she would make, and it's really well done. And once again, Miles's father steals every scene for me. I love what Brian Tyree Henry brings to this character. I love Jeffrey. The mom here gets a lot more time to play, Mrs. Morales, and she is so the heart of this film. I cannot wait to give spoilers on this, but it is very much the sequel I needed it to be, but it's more different than I expected. I'm glad the marketing didn't give too much away. I'm glad the movie itself trusted me. And I think most of all, I'm glad that Spider-Man being so universal, so multifaceted, allowed the movie to keep surprising me even as a Spider-Man fan, because there's things that happen in the comic books that happen in the film, but then they like play with those. So there's story elements you'll recognize, but then they add layers onto it. And to be honest, this is bordering on spoiler, but this is everything I wanted Multiverse of Madness to be. This is everything I want this new subgenre of multiversal impact to be. It lands all of the swings the other movies have tried. This is the everything everywhere all at once Spider-Man, and I'm in love with it. It is so very good. It is so very special. It's Spider-Man, and yeah, I think this is my new favorite Spider-Man movie, and that's saying a lot. Easter eggs, cameos, all of the things you could want in that, more modern, people look for it in their clip-out videos, but in the more traditional sense of storytelling, it is every bit the drama, every bit the love letter to love and family, every bit the laugh a minute, cry a minute later comedy, drama, just love letter to Spider-Man that I wanted it to be. I'm happy to report 5 stars, A+. Across the Spider-Verse is everything. Lord Miller, you did it again. Thank you, thank you, thank you for taking such good care of these characters I love so much. I cannot wait to see it again. Leave a comment below. Let me know which character you're most excited to see. Let me know who you're most excited to see debut or who you're most excited to see return. Let me know in the comments below once you've seen it who your favorite character was, which world, which artist. This movie.